Sometimes it's about more than manifesting. You got to do the work. If you're watching the YouTube, if you're watching us on Facebook, like, subscribe, share, follow, do all the good things. And if you're listening to us, you know you're listening to another episode of the Keep It Uplifting podcast, where I'm your host, Uplifting, and we always bring in the good news. But today, I got my man, Good News. Say what's up to the listeners,
what's good,
brother.
Man? Thanks for having me on, man. This is dope, man. This is dope. I'm glad to be on here.
Man, I really appreciate it. You know, we shout out to the boy Dodd. We did another podcast. The Exchange. Be sure to check that out. That's everywhere as well. And you know, I wanted you to come on the pod because I see you making changes, right? Mm-hmm. But for the people that don't know you, right? How did you get the name Good News?
So the name Good News actually came from one of my frat brothers.
Okay.
Back in 2006, I'm just a real positive person. I'm always talking positivity, and being around my frat brothers in Ohio, big shout out to my big bro Anton Stiff. He's the one that actually gave me that nickname. Yeah. But as I'm saying positive things on a constant basis, he just used to start playing around and say, "Oh, here comes good brother, good news." And because in our fraternity, when you address somebody, I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So when you address a member, usually in a formal setting, you say, "Good brother Cardwell." You know what I'm saying? That's my last name, or good brother, whatever the person's last name is. So he just started calling me Good Brother Good News as a joke. And then he was saying it around just other people and girls, and people just started thinking my name was Good News, and it just literally stuck. And man, I'm so appreciative of that, because that's like really helped me build my brand today and shape, you know, who I've actually become today. Yeah.
Speaking of your brand, it's true indeed. It is good news. Mm-hmm. Like, I hit you up, I asked you about the pod. I said, "Hey man, I'm going to be in town." You said, "Oh yeah. Come to the studio." Like the energy was just energy was just crazy, man. But I'm in the studio. How did the studio come about? Where did this all begin?
So I've been in this studio for over 12 years. Big shout out to McGuire Properties, because they're a great people to work with. Yeah. You know, they look out. But I had a situation where I had another studio. Unfortunately, some things were stolen out of that studio. So I was like trying to find a new place, and you know, God just puts me in this direction. And I came in here, I found it, contacted the people. I was able to get in here immediately, and I've been in here ever since. And that was 2011.
So this is what you do full time, right? Photography?
Photography is my passion. I love doing photography. I love creating for people. I love creating dope images and just showing people what's possible and how they can look. You know, so that's something I just enjoy doing.
I love that. I love that you said you're showing people what's possible, because that's what we talk about on the podcast, right? Obviously, the name is Keep It Uplifting, right, but we share great stories of people who are just like you and me, regular people, right? Who are doing great things, like yourself.
Appreciate that.
How'd you get into doing this full time? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out here who are doing their job, right, and they're at work, and they may like what they do, but they really have a passion for something else. How did you pursue that and make it into a full-time gig for yourself?
Personally, I utilize my job as a tool to get me to where I wanted to be with my passion. So with my last job that I've worked for somebody else, I worked for Sutherland. Sutherland is like a call center. A lot of people in Rochester work there. It's like a rites of passage if you live in Rochester to work at Sutherland. But I worked there. Well, first of all, let's rewind a little bit. When I moved to Rochester in 2009, I have a bachelor's in psychology from Hampton University. So I was trying to find a job within my major, and I was doing photography as a hobby at that point in time. And I liked it, though. I really did like doing photography, but I just didn't have like the real knowledge and general knowledge of photography and how it worked. It was just a passion at that point. Right. So I mean, it was just a hobby at that point. So when I was trying to find a job within my major and something I would like to do here in Rochester when I moved here, I wasn't able to. And substitute teaching, they had like a long line and list for that. So I started doing photography a little more to see if I can make some money with it. And I started making money with it, and it was like starting to be really dope. It was fun. Yeah. And then I ended up getting a job at Sutherland. And while I had my job at Sutherland, I would bring my portfolio to work every day. I would bring my camera to work every day. I would just take pictures inside my cubicle and just, play around my camera to kind of understand how it worked and learn it. Because at this point in 2009, I'm really still learning how to become a photographer. I'm still learning the camera, understanding the camera, and understanding lighting. And I'm really starting from the ground zero. So just help build my name like that. I did some beautiful pictures of the city, got them printed out, donated them to Sutherland. They hung them up in the hallway, so that was a good promotion for me. And then I was in like a tax season program there. So when
we're not gonna skip over that.
What?
You did some work, right? I just want to. I gotta stop people because they just skip over the story sometimes. Right. But you did some work for free,
right?
And then you donated the work, and then that even gave you some promotion, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that. You know what I mean?
It's all about marketing. When you're first starting off and you're trying to gain opportunities, money might not come as quickly as you want it to come because people got to understand what are you capable of doing. And not only that, it's not about what are you capable of doing. You don't want to start getting paid for something and be messing it up too.
Right.
So I did a lot of free shoots when I first started, and the whole Sutherland thing with getting the pictures printed, and I framed them and donated them. It was just and I used to do that all the time, not just with Sutherland, but any businesses that I worked with. Say if I did a photo shoot with them, it was a really good shoot. I might get something printed and give it to them as a marketing tool for myself, because now when these pictures aren't hanging up, people are coming there and asking who did it. Where can I get in contact with them? I like that. So it was like that's a way I was able to gain business.
Yeah.
So just a simple marketing tool. And after I did that, and the tax program was over at Sutherland, I was getting rehired into AT&T, but a lot of people were contacting me about doing photo shoots. So I was kind of having a conversation with my mom. I'm like, Mom, I don't know what to do. They want me back at the job, but I want to try this photography thing out. I think I could do it. She was like, well, you can always go back to Sutherland. If you're gonna take it seriously, I'll help you out until we figure out, until we see what happens, and let's see what happens. You can always go back. So I said, okay, well, my mom's blessing, I just hit the ground running, and I never looked back, and I've been able to build what I have today.
Beautiful, man. Shout out to all the good moms out there.
Big shot.
Right. But there was no fear there, like outside of your mom saying, okay, go. What was there anything else that sparked you to just take that leap of faith? Because people get scared, man. I
mean, honestly, it's coming from the situation that I already was in Ohio. I mean, it really couldn't get, I don't want to say any worse, but to make a long story short, I was working when I graduated from college, I went back home to work for my father's company, which we were the only black family to be in the stem cell banking industry. My dad had owned this company for years. And it was doing really well. My dad made millions of dollars, and the house we lived in, high school was $1.8 million. Like my dad was, he was an amazing entrepreneur, very smart. So, what ended up happening is, he took the company public. After he took the company public, just people were just being greedy, and they were trying to, basically take his idea and take his baby from him. By the time he realized what was going on, a lot of things had been wrong with the company. Make a long story short, I ended up losing my $75,000 a year paycheck, and I lost everything: my apartment, my car. Got my car repossessed in front of all my friends. It was just in a very embarrassing situation. And I called my mom up July of 2009, just like, yo, Mom, things are going well here with Dad. I just need to get a break. I can't take it anymore. She bought me a train ticket. I brought 4 outfits and my camera here to Rochester with me. Wow. And ended up not going back. But it became a blessing in disguise because being here, even though I didn't want to be here at that point in time, being here and then starting my photography business and then meeting all the people that I've been able to meet, and then just coming home or coming to Rochester at the right time where my little brother Anthony, he kind of needed to be nurtured and pushed in the right direction, in his life, because he was just entering, middle school, and I was able to be here to help guide, him. And I mean, I've always been in my little brother's life. That's like my son. Right. But just being here and being more hands-on, I felt really helped with his growth, and I'm glad God did that so I could be a part of that. So that's kind of how it went. And when I got here, in terms of being scared, of course, any new venture, you're going to be scared. But when you're thinking about not wanting to go back to a certain situation, it kind of takes the fear out of it a little bit. You just want to work and just move in a positive way and just not try to, think about any of the negative stuff.
Yeah, so 4 outfits, a train ticket, You get here, you hustle up, right? The story sounds absolutely amazing, and then all of a sudden you just embark on this, right? That's just how it happened.
Nah,
right? Everything was.
Nah, I mean, it definitely took time. Like I've been a professional photographer now since 2009, and it's gone. I mean, getting like now it seems like it went fast, but I mean, you definitely have those bumps in the roads. Those learning experiences, what to do, what not to do. Especially when you finally work with your first celebrity for the first time, and not getting too scared.
You just gonna throw that in there? Who you don't work with, man? Who do you work with?
Man, I've been blessed to work with a lot of amazing people, man. I work with Machine Gun Kelly, Kyrie Irving, Rick Ross, Meek Mills, Joyner Lucas, Steph London.
Yeah, man, you always be down to you just a good dude, bro.
I appreciate it, man.
You're just like very genuine too. It's just very easygoing, man.
In my mind, I just try to keep things simple, bro. And I just feel like, I know this might sound I don't want to say corny, but like if everybody just do their part and just be a good person, the world would just be such a better place.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're going to have shiesty people. I know you're going to have those people, but it's like people always talk about like, what do we need to make this world a better place? And shit, everybody just focus on being the best person they could possibly be.
Yeah.
It's simple. Like, just focus on being a good person. Like,
that's profound.
It's not that hard to do. Like, treat people how you want to be treated. Be a blessing so you can receive a blessing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm all about, I want to see everybody win. Like, I got the mentality that's like, it's enough out here for all of us. Like,
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts, yes.
And
that's what we need. We need people like, if everyone was like that, like you said, the world would be an absolutely better place.
And people tell me all the time, like, oh, Chris, you're too nice and you're doing too much and you let people take advantage of you. And I don't really think of it like that. It's just like, sometimes sometimes I will get a situation where maybe I might get, I go I'm a little too friendly and somebody might try to take advantage of that. But for the majority of my life, I feel like, being the person I am, the reason I've been able to get so far is because of being the person I am.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't imagine not wanting to help people, not wanting to, do the right thing or try to do the right thing. Do I, am I a perfect person? No. But, do I try to treat people right as much as I possibly can? You know what I'm saying? Because I want people to treat me right. I want people to treat my mom right. I want people to treat, people that I'm with right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't expect.
It's like warming my heart, man. You trying to like make me cry over here, man. That's dope, bro.
This wasn't even a part of the podcast.
Yeah, I know, but we keeping this stuff. In case you guys didn't know, we had some camera malfunctions, but we are back. We back. And if you didn't hear it at all, play that part back. You gotta run that part back. Good News gave you some great information. And he's just a blessing to the world. We need more people like him. And I think that's the reason why you were even able to go from where you went to where you are now to, working with Machine Gun Kelly. You mentioned Kyrie Irving. I saw you working with Fabulous. That's when I was like, yo, we gotta talk to him, dog. So tell me about like your first time actually working with an entertainer, a famous person, a influencer, all of these great, titles that come with people who just work really hard. How was that? Matter of fact, Kyrie, you gotta tell me how it was working with Kyrie.
Kyrie, that was a really cool situation, man. It was when he still played for Cleveland.
Okay.
And I used to work with a company called PSD Underwear. I mean, they're super popular right now. It's a very big brand. I don't know if you heard of them or seen them, but a lot of people wear their briefs. Like a lot of famous celebrities wear their briefs to say PSD on them.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know, but that PSD brand actually started in Rochester. So, and people don't even know what the PSD stand for. PSD stands for Pant Sagging Design. Big shout out to Kurt and Mike. There's the one that actually started. Their brothers. They're the one that actually started the company. And they used to have like shirts, and they before they did briefs, they had shirts and all these other things for their brand.
Yeah.
And I used to photograph the stuff for them. So I got a chance to photograph like Steve. When I first moved in here, I got a chance to photograph Stevie Johnson, and they used to the wide receiver for the Bills. And they had at this time, this little kid has to be at least 20 years old. By the time he was like 10 or 11, he was a black motocross rider that was a part of PSD, and he was getting like some notoriety now. And then again, he has to be like 20 now. So getting a chance to work with, you know, PSD and that was really, really dope. So the Kyrie Irving thing. So PSD, they started making a lot of headway. They started, you know, gaining some traction with the briefs. And I don't know exactly how they got into the realm of the NBA, but they were able to get to Kyrie. And Kyrie loved the brand. Kyrie became a part of the brand, and they had to photograph him.
Right.
And I was, you know, since I was close to, you know, Ohio area, because they're basically based out of LA now. They're not based out of Rochester anymore.
Okay.
So I was the closest photographer to where Kyrie was. You know, my boy Kurt was like, yo, let's bring you down there and, you know, photograph Kyrie, and I got to go to his house, and yeah, it was a great experience.
Were you nervous at all?
Hell yeah, I was very nervous.
I mean,
it's Kyrie Irving. So I played basketball all my life. So Kyrie is one of my favorite players. You know, it was one of those things where it's like, wow, I'm in his house.
Right.
Like, this is crazy. He's right in front of me. Like, this is really crazy. So, I mean, that was a humbling experience. Very, very, very dope. Yeah, I mean, I was blessed to be in that situation. So.
Yeah. You were also prepared, though.
Yes,
you know?
I was prepared. In my mind, I always feel like I could have did things better. I felt like because I was kind of a little starstruck a little bit, I felt like there were some things I could have did better at. But I was trying to move so fast to just get it done because I didn't want to, you know, be a bother or anything like that. But looking back on it now and wishing that, you know, because this was some years ago, wishing that, you know, seeing how I am now and having the experience that I have now, just a couple things I would have changed and did differently, but it was an amazing experience.
Anything major that you want to highlight?
From
like as far as what you would have changed, like maybe controlling the situation or
not really controlling the situation, like noticing what they're actually wearing, because he had on these shorts that were blue in the front but white in the back, and I was shooting on a white background. So when he turned, wasn't realizing that it wasn't showing the line of the short where the short ended and stopped. So I was like, oh, I kind of had to like Photoshop that in and finesse it. So it was like one of those things I was like, next time pay more attention, you know, don't be so starstruck, you know, pay attention in the room, make sure you understand not understand what's going on, but make sure you watch, you know, what's going on so you don't have to make any adjustments after the shoot. Yeah. Because I feel like, you know, for a little bit, you know, that kind of affected my relationship with PSD. And, now, you know, I miss working with them, but at the end of the day, it was a great opportunity. They still use the photos and everything like that, so that was cool. But just being a young photographer, that was probably one of the things I probably would have changed. And
I asked you about that, you know, because, and I talked to Dowd about this last night, people get into professions and they just want to start where you are because they see what you're doing, right? And I asked them, and I'm asking you, how bothersome is it when someone just thinks that they could just step into your shoes without putting in the work, right? Like,
you know, everybody's situation is different, right?
Yeah.
So, you know,
because I'm starstruck right now.
You said what?
I'm starstruck right now, for real, man.
Who?
You know it. Like I've been following you since we did the pod, so you know what I'm saying.
You
don't
gotta be starstruck with me. I've still got a long way to go, but. With situations like what I've learned is, you know, people get their blessings at different times. Some people, like you said, some people are able to come in and just, boom, it just happens. And some people have to work 10, 20 years before they really get that break.
Okay.
You know, and at the end of the day, you can't compare yourself to, when it comes to success, you can't compare yourself to anybody. You really can only compare yourself to yourself. Success is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So you have to really focus on what you have to do, because when you start focusing on what other people are doing and trying to compete and doing all that other stuff, it's just like, now you're taking away from really what maybe you should be doing or thinking or strategizing or, you know, coming into the game a little bit different. Like when I started photography, I wasn't like, what is this photographer doing? What is this photographer doing? I just was like, yo, this is what I want to do. I want to try this. I'm going to do it my way. Now, what I did do is, though, I did study the greats and people that inspired me, you know, because, you know, success is not about reinventing the wheel. It's about looking at what other people have done to become successful. Right. And then you put your spin on it to make it you. And that's what I did. You know, I studied photographers like Jill Greensberg, Derek Blanks, Art Stryper, Chad Grimes, Clay Patchen McBride, and like study their lighting, study their behind the scenes photography, study how they did things. And I tried to implement those things into, you know, what I personally do. Well, one thing I did think about, you know, being a photographer and coming into the game, I try to think about what other photographers were not doing that I could do to set myself apart. One thing my dad taught me about business is you want to understand what a barrier of entry is. So basically just meaning like, you know, what can you do and offer that somebody else that is in your same profession isn't. Right. So that's when I started Good News Apparel, my clothing company. Okay. And because I noticed no other photographers had T-shirts or, you know, something based off of something for photographers. So I created Good News Apparel because I wanted to have something that could showcase me, something I can, you know, give to my, you know, have my clients buy, or, you know, just something that just another way of giving income as well as, you know, building a positive brand for creatives. And now I have a partner. His name is What's Good out of California, and the brand is doing well. But we're focused on creating clothing for people that are photographers, writers, you know, producers, directors, you know, people that are in what we do, because there's nothing focused really. You know, no clothing line focused in doing that for us. So
that's genius, man. Just to figure out what's untouched in your niche is just absolute genius.
And this was like 10 years ago, of course. Now there's a lot of people that are doing the same thing.
Right. Like barbers got like barber clothing and stuff like that. But
I mean, everybody got a brand now. I feel like that's about to turn into the new thing. Like, like people are gonna be like, nah, I don't mess with that designer anymore. I got my own brand. Like, nah. The girl be like, nah, I can't mess with you. He don't even got his own brand. I think it's going to go into that area soon.
No, I like that you figured out a way to break into the craft, right? And then you obviously have just been doing phenomenal things. You know, the cameras are going crazy today, so I got an opportunity to see that you own the building, you know, and you got some things going on over there, but what I really wanted to come up here and talk to you about, since we went over there, and I see that you have open mic over the. This guy's phenomenal, guys. But you got open mic over there. What's going on with you in comedy, man? Because one, that's what I'm saying. You just do everything. Like you play ball. You're a photographer. You know what I'm saying?
With photography, I mean, with comedy. This month, actually, February is now been my 1 year of doing stand-up consistently. Yeah. And it's been amazing. I've been doing improv comedy for some years, though. You know, big shout out to 585 Viral, the comedy team I work with. I mean, those are my brothers. Love them guys. And I just love to make people laugh. And, you know, after the pandemic kind of hit and we were kind of starting back up, I was just like, well, I want to see what I can do with this comedy thing. I've been doing improv for some while. Let me see what I really want to hit the stage and test myself doing stand-up. Right. And, you know, something I was very nervous to do and scared to do. But once you do it and you get that first laugh and you get bit by that stand-up bug, it's like, it's addicting. And I've met so many amazing people this past year doing stand-up, and I've had a lot of amazing experiences traveling, doing stand-up. And now at this point, I just can't imagine not doing it. You know, I was in a bad place mentally a year ago, and comedy helped me get out of that. And when I say a bad place, I had a situation going on with, you know, a relationship, and, you know, everything doesn't work out, you know, and it wasn't working out the way I wanted it to work out, and comedy became my escape. And the more I did it, the happier I became, the more confident I started feeling, and it just started feeling like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. So now, at this point in my life, you know, I'm single now, and I'm doing comedy and photography in my clothing line full time. I'm very happy in what I'm doing, and it's just an amazing thing, man, to see how God works in your life and how He positions certain things and to make things come to life.
you gave me a lot there, man. Pause. But like,
sorry, I'm talking so much.
No. I usually get into the mental health piece in the beginning of the pod, so I feel like I skipped a step, man. I feel like I'm not doing my job here, but what I'll ask you is, you seem like a guy who works a lot.
Yeah, I do.
Right? How has that affected your relationships? Would you say that?
I don't have time for a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm not really thinking about a relationship right now. Honestly, for me right now, it's just more about building my career, building my happiness, keeping my mental health together. And I'm just going with the flow with that. Right now, there's certain things that I want in my life that I'm not able to get yet.
Yeah.
That I want to be able to get, you know what I'm saying? So those are the goals that I'm working on right now. And I'm just staying focused on that. And whatever God puts in my path in terms of relationship wise, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And, I'm more of a go with the flow type person. So I'm just kind of going with the flow right now.
Yeah. That's just eye opening, man, because, I talked to Dodd about it yesterday. He lost all that weight. And he was talking about, mentally what he was going through. Mm-hmm. And the episode before, my man was talking about being in a dark place. And it's crazy because I just asked these questions and you kind of stumble on to, oh, yeah, I was going through something. But anyway, you just skip right over it. And I try to at least talk about that as much as we can because do you feel like we have a place to go to? And I don't want this to turn into a counseling or, a session like that, but do you feel like men have a place to go to talk to people? Like, outside of comedy, like, who else were you able to confide in about?
The stage is kind of, that was
just my therapy.
That was my therapy.
Yeah.
I feel like as black men, we really don't have a lot of people to talk to. I see therapy is getting very popular nowadays, which is good. People going to therapy and really getting the help from professionals. But as black men, I think sometimes we are so prideful and it can kind of feel like almost an embarrassing thing if you go to therapy or something like that. Or like, I feel like back in the day, it was like a kind of frowned upon thing because it's like if you go to therapy or a counselor, you're weak or something like that. But now that mental health is starting to become, more of a bigger thing and people are way more cognitive of that. I can say this. I feel like I've been blessed to be surrounded around a lot of great people. And, sometimes I'm able to confide in friends and talk to people. Like, I don't want to make it seem like I just don't have anybody to talk to because I do have people I talk to. I do have people I trust and I do have amazing friends. So, I've been blessed to have that kind of support system, but just speaking in general, not being able to talk to people or black men not being able to talk. But
do you feel? Because I'll be honest. I don't feel like after a while. I feel a certain way about coming to my man with the same
same problem.
It's like, dog, do something different, bro. But you're not hearing what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So how comfortable do you feel even bringing your problems?
Well, I think honestly, you just kind of like mentioned it right there. Like sometimes I think we can stay in a situation too long. And like I said, if you're constantly having the same problem, at some point we have to start taking responsibility and looking at ourselves. Okay. Because it's like, if you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you want to get something, if you want to do something you never done, you got to do something you never did. So it's like, even though that's hard sometimes, because when you're in a rhythm of doing something how you're used to doing it and trying to change it, it's hard. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's way easier said than done. But when you're able to kind of like take a step back and look at things from an outside eye, when you're able to do that, and then you can kind of be like, oh, wow, now I see what other people were talking about. Yeah. Now I see why I should have did it this way. Now I see why some people were telling me to do it this way. So sometimes you need that outside eye for yourself to really, step back for a second and really see it from another perspective. Because when you're in something, you can't see it from all angles. You're so blinded to what's going on at the time.
Because you're in it. You can't see your way out,
So sometimes you got to take that step back and really look at it. And like I said, if you're constantly coming to somebody with that same problem, then at some point you have to look at yourself.
Yeah. Looking in the mirror is hard, though.
It is. It is very hard.
Like you said, even stepping outside of your situation, it is the comfort, but I feel like it's the the nakedness that it is, because now you're like, where am I? And then you start to analyze it, and you're even harder on yourself about what you allowed to take place. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, how have you handled that? Has just that been through comedy, or because I know as men we're like, man, I should have seen that coming, or I shouldn't be like this, or I shouldn't have these feelings.
I mean, man, I've had all those thoughts, bro. But at the end of the day, it's really just about, keeping a positive mindset. I think that's one thing that really helps me out a lot is keeping a positive mindset. Now, I'm not saying that I'm positive 24/7. Like, I try to be.
Right.
But, of course, it's life. Negative thoughts are going to creep in. Doubt is going to creep in. But it's when those thoughts hit you, what do you do next? Are you going to continue to think those thoughts? Or are you going to replace those thoughts with a positive thought and try to move differently? And that's what I try to do. When I get those negative thoughts or those times where I start doubting myself, I think about all the things I've done before that proves that I shouldn't be doubting myself. I think about, okay, I'm about to get on stage. I'm nervous as hell. What if the crowd don't receive me? Well, we just did 5 shows. Right. Everybody was cracking up. Why would you, I got a photo shoot with the celebrity. I'm so nervous. Are they going to love my work? Well, shot with Kyrie Irving, Rick Ross, Steph London, Jordan Lucas. They all gave you compliments on your work. Why are you worried about yourself? All right. Like, it's like,
talk to him.
It's like things like that. You really have to
That's a crazy pep talk, though. You got to run them names back. Rick Ross. Like, that's a crazy pep talk.
That's just me personally, because I still get those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you really have to put things in perspective for yourself sometimes and really realize how great you are. Because one thing about, greatness, or one thing that people don't realize about their own personal greatness, is it really comes from you, being you, not being nobody else, not trying to be something that you're not. It's you, because there's only one you. And that's what makes, some people rich, because they're able to capitalize off their uniqueness.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's what I think more people need to focus on, is just, being themselves. And I think that would make people more happy.
I appreciate that vulnerable moment, man. Like, you just allowing us in, But comedy went from therapy to the DMV. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, you be skipping levels. I don't know how you do this. You must got a cheat code somewhere. But you be like, yeah, man, so, I just went through this, and I stepped in, and then I was with Kyrie, and then you went through a thing with a relationship, and then you like, I just stepped in comedy, and now I'm in the DMV, and I don't even tap in with the boy Uplifting.
I'm so sorry, bro. I meant to hit, like, so many people that hit me like, yo, why did you not hit me? I was placing it on Facebook, Instagram, and all that, but next time I come, I promise you, bro. That was an awesome experience, man, coming to DC, man, and performing at the DC Comedy Loft. That is an amazing comedy club. The staff shows so much love. Big shout out to Chris Allen, my big bro, that gave me the opportunity to even come perform there, because he smashed those shows. And it just, shout out to my boy Spark, shout out my boy Don. I mean, they all killed it, man. And it just was a very dope learning experience. It's like, especially with comedy, because you could do comedy in one area, but until you actually get out that area and see how other people perceive it, it's like, can I really do this?
Right.
So going to DC and being around people that don't know me at all, you know what I'm saying, and being able to make them laugh, it felt so good, man. Because it's easy to make people laugh that know you.
Right.
But it's like, can you get out there and really do that?
Right. People you never met.
Right.
They looking at you funny when you coming on the stage.
You got to prove yourself. Yeah. But with me, though, with the comedy, it's kind of...
Is it natural?
I'll have to work at it, to be totally honest. I feel like I'm a funny person, just being myself. But in terms of the stand-up is an art. Okay. Like, there are some people that can get up and just have it. And I feel like I do have it. But in terms of, like, becoming I have to work at it. I write every day. I try to think of jokes. I try to think of stuff from different perspectives. I try to think of stuff from photography, because being a photographer, I feel like that's my uniqueness and my material, because not all comedians can talk about stuff from a photographer's perspective. So I work really hard at it, because me personally, I'm not gonna do something if I'm not gonna be great at it. Right. Like, if I'm gonna do something I really want to do, I'm gonna put my 100% into it and try to really, I want to be great at it as fast as I possibly can be great at it. So it's been fun, man. It's been fun, and to see where my comedy journey is going, you know what I'm saying? Not every night is sunshine, But, you know, when you get those moments where you're able to shine, it's all worth it.
I just like it because I see you doing funny skits on social media. You've also done a movie that I haven't even touched on.
Yeah, we
right?
can talk about that
right?
too.
You know,
Yeah.
so we're going to get into that next. But you do funny things. Like you have a great sense of humor,
Thank
right?
you.
You can make people laugh. And the fact that you are just so humble and like, I want to make sure that I master the art, the craft, you know, like you're not coming into it. Cause I asked you that question, like, what do you think? And you're like, yeah, everybody gets there. But even the way you're approaching comedy says a lot about the integrity of you. You know what I'm saying? It says a lot about how you're a purist in whatever you do. And you really, like you said, I got to be the best at this. I'm not just doing this just to be good. Right? My name already good news. I'm good everywhere, you know? So, but look, man, you traveling. What else is next in comedy? And then what other movies are coming from you? Make sure you touch on the movie prior to the new movies that are coming after that.
So comedy, next big thing for me is we just did a show last night at the Comedy at the Carlson. Comedy at the Carlson is the top comedy club here in Rochester. Oh, shout out Carlson. They've been showing and believing in me and showing a lot of love to the community lately, and I appreciate that so much. We did a comedy show there.
How did that relationship, just to cut in there, how did that relationship come about? So,
photography, actually. So the way I built my relationship with the Carlson is big shout out to Mark Ippolito. He's the owner of the Carlson, and I've known Mark since he had his comedy club in Webster, but when he moved to the Carlson area, they featured him in a local Rochester magazine, so I had to go photograph him for it.
Nice.
Went photographed Mark or whatever. We were already cool. Did those, and then from what I did there, I got a picture of, because the Carlson is actually a microphone that they used to make back in the day or whatever. That's why this microphone is on here. So I took a picture of one of the original microphones that was there, and then I got it printed out. Like I said, I used to do the prints, and I gave it to Mark. And from there, that's how me and Mark kind of really started our friendship.
Okay.
When it comes to the comedy aspect of things, because I wasn't doing comedy then, I was just doing straight photography. I started going to the open mics, all the open mics, and the Carlson started an open mic. I was going to the Carlson open mic religiously, learning, trying to show them what I could do. And you got to network, you got to show people that you're serious. So I would constantly be going to the Carlson, going there, showing my face, making sure I speak to everybody, and putting it in my work.
Right.
And they started paying attention a little more
for free, right?
Well,
I gotta make sure that the listeners, the people watching, know that this is free.
This was just putting in work, because this is, for me personally, if it's something that I want to do, you know what I'm saying. I used my photography experience and building my photography experience to build my comedy,
relationships, networks,
right? Exactly. So after that, they had Rochester's Funniest. I entered Rochester Funniest at the Carlson. I became a semifinalist in that for my first time. I had only been doing comedy I started in February. Rochester's Funniest was in June. So, still pretty new to it. Right. I made it as a semifinalist, so I was happy about that. Still put my name out there, kept working. And, just through consistent work. And them seeing me consistently, that's how I was able to start getting into the position of doing shows at the Carlson. So now, fast forward to today, I've done shows with Ian, Laura, Jesse May, and I've been able to now I'm hosting 4 shows in May, and I hosted a show last night. So now I'm starting to see the fruits of like what I planted starting to bloom. So it is just an amazing feeling. And shout out to our comedy team. We got a comedy team called The Basement.
Okay. Shout out to The Basement.
Shout out to The Basement boys. We call ourselves The Basement because, as new comedians, we're working from the ground, working up.
I like that.
And in the basement, you strategize. You write down your plans. Like, think about any movie you see, they in the basement, they working, they got all the screens up, trying to figure it out. And that's kind of how we look at our comedy team. It's like where we'll put in the work. And all my members of The Basement were on the show last night that I hosted, and they all killed. So it's just a great feeling to see how working together as a team can really push you forward faster than just being on your own. Teamwork really makes the dream work. And like I said, once again, I'm just blessed to be around some amazing people. And I'm a big believer in The Secret.
Okay.
So The Secret is, the law of attraction. People never seen the book or read it. Please go watch it, read it. It changed my life when I got introduced to it in 2009. But I'm a big believer in The Secret. So it's like, what I believe is you work hard, you think positive, you visualize your success to put it out to the universe. And by doing those things, you know what I'm saying, those 3 things specifically, staying consistent, working hard, staying positive, you're able to attract the right things into your life to make what you want come true. So it's like by doing those things that I've been doing, now I'm attracting these type of friends and these type of opportunities, and everything that's coming together is just coming together to make bigger opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's how I believe that's how I feel like it happened in my photography career, and now I feel like that's what's happening in my comedy career. And I'm just blessed, man.
Man, no, man. You're blessed, but and I don't got my mother gonna be mad at me because I don't got my scriptures handy, but like God does bless a working man, you know what I'm saying? And you're constantly working. You're not asking anybody for anything. You're not thinking that you're entitled to it just because you desire it. And I love that you talked about The Secret, because we talked about The Secret on the other podcast, but I didn't want to even push you in that direction. But what was the secret to making this movie, man?
Shit, the secret of making this movie was relationships, man. Just big shout out to Rent a Ride and the whole cast of Rent a Ride. Rent a Ride is basically a movie about 2 brothers that started a rent-a-car company in the hood through racial adversity. And but we just make it funny, extremely funny. And I've been working on this movie for about 2 years now. The movie should have been out already, but I was working with somebody that unfortunately put us behind schedule almost a year. Wow. So that's why it's not out yet. But right. We got a lot of people. We got I got
a little snippet of it though. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
But we got a dope team in place now. Big shout out to DJ Ease, because he's now doing the scoring for the movie, and I'm so excited about that because he's such an amazing DJ.
Yeah.
And I know he's gonna bring this movie over the top. Okay. So that's what I'm excited about. And even though it's not out yet, I feel like everything happens for a reason. Yeah. Because now I feel like now that I have my boy DJ Ease in place, is going to be even better. So it's like sometimes God puts things and does certain things to.
It's not your time,
right?
It's God's time.
So it's like exactly. So it's like it might not happen the time I want it, but it's happening at the right time. Because now, the crazy thing is now that a lot of people that I have in the movie, all their followings have grown, and
so it's going to be a much larger production,
right? Exactly. Nice. So now when. Because very soon I'm gonna release a brand new trailer and release some more marketing material. I'm just being quiet about it because I promoted the movie so much in these past 2 years, being excited. Oh, it's about to come out now. It's about to come out now. Right. I don't want to say anything until I get that final date now, which is coming very soon. Okay. But you're gonna see a huge marketing push from Rent a Ride very, very soon. But now I am working on other projects right now. Since I've been inspired by the comedy. And the funny thing is, I actually was thinking about this in depth last night. But I want to work on a series, like a show called Open Mic, and I want the show to be about, and it's almost gonna be a reflection of, of course, not the whole thing, but the reflection of kind of how I've gone through comedy. So it's not gonna be directly about me, but it's gonna be about somebody that's new to comedy, and they're going to open mics and how their journey goes. Right.
Don't give them too much, man. Right. Somebody take it from you. Don't give them too much.
That's my next thing I think I'm going to write. I have more ideas, but that's what I've been inspired to write about next.
That just sounds like something I would sit down and watch every week. Like you can't give them all the episodes to binge watch. You know what I mean? But you actually talked about it. That is my final question that I always ask my guests, and the only reason that I'm cutting this short because I want to save some for when the movie comes out, for when you got other things going on. I want to be able to come back.
I definitely want to be on this podcast again.
Yeah, I want to come back and tap in with you, man. So, what is next for you?
You know what, bro? Next for me, March 4th. Big shout out to Joel James. He has a big theater show, doing a reunion for some Rochester legends. Shout out Zach Johnson. Shout out Yolanda Smiles. Shout out Gary Funk Fields. Just Niche, he's flying her in to be the main headliner. Like I said, Joel James. They're doing basically like a legendary Rochester reunion GOATs show. You know what I'm saying? Because
what date is that again? Drop that date?
March 4th. It's going to be at Hochstein School of Music. It's probably going to be about 800 to 1,000 people there. Tickets it's almost sold out. So it's going to be a huge show. But I'm opening up for that show. So I get to hit the stage, before then, warming the crowd up and stuff. So I'm super excited about that. It's going to be my first theater show, of course. And nervous, but prepared.
Yeah.
But just to have the opportunity and see something like that go on in Rochester is going to be dope. So big shout out to Joel for even doing this, because that's amazing. And, Joel James, he's been on Comedy Central and travels the world doing this. So just to bring something like this back home is very dope. And it's humbling for me to only be a year in comedy, and he's allowing me to open up.
Amazing. And you're just absolutely an amazing person. I know I gave you a lot of fanboyed out a little bit, but I gave you a lot of praise, man.
I appreciate that, man.
And it's really just because you know people by their names. You know people by their first and last names, right? You know people for what they do, what their specialty is. You're not just a guy named Good News. You are the good news. You're able to spread it, man. And I really, really appreciate you coming on the podcast. If you guys don't follow Good News, be sure to follow Good News, because he always has some comedy for you, some good news for you. He's, you put up inspirational stuff, and you're just such an inspiration to anybody who is just trying to achieve their dreams, man. I want to thank you again for coming on the show, and I gotta ask you again, what is the name of that song that we're gonna head out with?
Rooftop Summer by E. Jones. Let's get that going. I want to say big shout out to you, man. Thank you for having me on here, bro. This was an amazing experience. You had great conversation, great things to talk about, and made me feel real comfortable. So I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
And I hope to be on when you get this millions of followers. I hope you have me back. You know what I'm saying? You got celebrities on and stuff. I'm about to be back on here, man. So I appreciate the opportunity, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's all family, man. And everybody watching, keep it uplifting.
Positive mind, positive grind. Let's get it.
Make sure to like, comment, share, and most importantly, keep it uplifting.
Take it up, listen.